期遇到一个男的，神经病一样。他说我提了3个要求，结婚彩礼50万，别说50万，51万都可以，房子车子都可以满足我，但是必须让我去做那个 GPA 的一个婚检是什么意思？他感觉自己很牛是吗？还做什么婚检？有病啊，是不是？
Yesterday, I saw a woman who, during a blind date, presented the man with 3 conditions: a house, a car, and a bride price of 500,000 yuan. The man readily agreed to her demands, even stating that it wouldn't matter if it were 510,000 yuan instead. However, unexpectedly, after agreeing to these conditions, the man made a small request in return. He hoped she could undergo a premarital checkup that included GPA indicators. Upon hearing the man's request, the woman's expression immediately turned awkward, feeling that the man was simply crazy. She couldn't help but question him, asking, "Does he really think he's something special? Why should I have to undergo a premarital checkup?" She even accused the man of being mentally disturbed. I would like to say, if you haven't done anything wrong, what are you so worried about? In her view, the man's request was simply absurd. Think about it carefully. The woman can ask the man for so many things, but when the man merely requests a small premarital checkup, she seems so afraid and resistant. It makes one wonder, what exactly is she worried about? Could it be that she has some hidden secrets? You have requested a house, a car, and even a bride price of 500,000 yuan, which the man has agreed to. Yet he only hopes she will cooperate with a premarital checkup. However, this small request actually makes her shrink back, even thinking the man is crazy. If she has nothing to hide, why would she be so opposed? This situation makes one think of why some men nowadays have reservations about marriage. Spending a fortune to marry a woman, only to find that he has to tread carefully as if worshipping an ancestor, eventually discovering what kind of person he has truly married. Does this woman always keep an eye out for opportunities in the outside world? Today meeting a wealthy man, tomorrow wondering if there's an even wealthier one? Since you demand such a high bride price, you should also maintain self-respect and conduct yourself with integrity, rather than wandering around or getting involved casually. Today you play with this man for a couple of days, tomorrow with another, and in the end, you still expect others to treat you with a grand bride price. Such expectations are naive. If you are already remarried, just say so honestly, so everyone knows what to expect. But now, before you've even married, the man proposes a premarital checkup, and you react so strongly. Doesn't this say something? You call the man crazy. I think you might be the one with issues.
杭州相亲角，男方要求女方做婚检。
In Hangzhou's matchmaking corner, an event sparked widespread discussion. A gentleman proposed a requirement during a blind date, asking the woman to undergo a premarital checkup. This proposal immediately triggered strong reactions from some women present, who quickly dispersed along with a group of mothers-in-law. Some of the young women even left in tears, angry at the suggestion. In fact, premarital checkups should be a very normal matter, as both parties bear responsibility for themselves and their future children. Unfortunately, this seemingly reasonable request instilled fear in many women. One young man clearly stated that he was willing to meet all the woman's demands regarding car, house, and bride price, but insisted on the premarital check. He did not require the woman to be a virgin, he simply hoped her GPA data would be within a reasonable range. When the girl asked what GPA meant, he explained that the GPA data referred to G for the number of pregnancies, P for the number of births, and A for the number of miscarriages. Upon hearing this, the young women expressed outrage and immediately left. This reaction is reminiscent of buying a car. If you're prepared to spend hundreds of thousands on a vehicle, you would naturally want to know the real situation of the car, such as whether the engine is original, if it has undergone major repairs, whether the odometer has been tampered with, if it is a second-hand car, whether it has been modified, whether it has been submerged in water, or if it has been in an accident. This information concerns the car's value and future condition, so wanting a detailed inspection report is not unreasonable. While some people are willing to buy second-hand cars, everyone hopes to understand the true condition of the vehicle to avoid becoming a victim of a bad deal. What do you all think about the man's request for the woman to undergo a premarital checkup?
好多人问我敢不敢做婚检。
Many people ask me if I'm willing to undergo a premarital health check, which I find quite strange. Why wouldn't I be willing? I'm a 39-year-old high-quality older single woman, unmarried and childless, with a doctoral degree, meaning I've never had children. I have received a good education and possess fundamental knowledge, some of which might even be more thorough than most. So, do you think I wouldn't know how to protect myself? In fact, I'm entirely open to a premarital health check. I have no issues with it. However, I hope the man would also undergo a health check, as that would be fair. The main purpose of premarital health checks is to determine whether both parties have the ability to conceive, or if there are any health issues that might impact the marriage. Such checks are actually very helpful, as they can prevent many unnecessary conflicts and disputes after marriage. One of my colleagues went through a similar situation. She and her husband wanted children, but despite many attempts, they couldn't achieve a pregnancy. However, the husband's family placed all the blame on her, assuming it was her issue. The husband's parents and relatives thought she was not capable, even calling her a hen that can't lay eggs and saying she had no value. Her mother-in-law picked on her constantly, blaming her for not giving the family a child and making her feel like a sinner. My colleague was under such constant pressure that she was nearly depressed. In fact, she had once considered going to the hospital to check whether the issue was with her or her husband so they could pursue the appropriate treatment. However, her husband always refused, thinking it was shameful for a man to undergo such tests. So the problem dragged on for years, ultimately leading to their divorce. Later, my colleague remarried, and just 2 months after her wedding, she was pregnant. Her child is now almost school age. This shows that the fertility issue actually lay with her ex-husband. Therefore, I believe that premarital health checks are very necessary, and both men and women should undergo them. Many times, fertility issues may stem from the man. For example, staying up late, smoking, and drinking can all affect fertility, while female fertility issues are relatively less common, although they're not non-existent. So, I hope people will stop underestimating us high-quality older single women. Because of our age, we've been through more experiences and have learned to protect ourselves better. This is also why we can confidently face a premarital health check and even request that our partner participate as well.
太侮辱人了，宁愿不结婚也不接受婚检。
A few days ago, my bestie, with an indignant look on her face, told me she would rather not marry than accept a premarital health check. She and her boyfriend had already agreed to marry during the National Day holiday, and everything was arranged. But at this critical moment, her boyfriend's parents brought up the requirement for a premarital health check. This left my bestie feeling heartbroken, as if the trust she had built with her boyfriend over the years was completely shattered in that instant. My bestie helplessly said, "We've been together for 4 years. Do we really lack even this bit of trust? Bringing up a health check suddenly feels like an insult to my character." However, her boyfriend's mother firmly responded, "We're only thinking about our son's future. After all, marriage is a lifelong commitment, and we don't want any regrets down the road. This is not a personal doubt about you." Caught in the middle, her boyfriend tried to soothe both sides, gently saying, "Dear, my mom means well. The trust between us shouldn't waver just because of a medical report. Please, give us a chance to face this together, okay?" But at that moment, my bestie angrily reproached her boyfriend, saying, "At such a crucial time, you chose to remain silent and retreat. How can I trust that you'll protect me in the future? If there's not even the most basic level of trust, this marriage was wrong from the start. I would rather not marry." Seeing this, her boyfriend's mother also took a firm tone, saying, "Marriage is not child's play. If you are sincere, you should understand our well-intentioned concerns." In the end, the conversation ended hastily in a mix of chaos and resentment. My bestie resolutely turned and left, her steps firm, each one filled with a rethinking of her future. Her boyfriend was left in deep self-blame and confusion, realizing that the real test might just be beginning. My bestie shared this incident with her friends, and opinions were mixed. Some friends felt that a premarital health check was perfectly normal. After all, it used to be mandatory. Although it's not required now, it benefits both parties, so why resist it? Others believed that since the couple had already been living together for years, bringing up a health check now did seem somewhat insulting. If they hadn't lived together, it might have been more understandable. Some also felt that the boyfriend's mother's wording was inappropriate, and that she should have emphasized both parties getting checked, since the man could also have issues. They even joked that this guy is clearly a mama's boy and not worth marrying. What should have been a joyful wedding preparation turned into an unbridgeable gap between the two because of the health check issue. Under the impact of reality, love and family bonds seem so fragile, almost unable to withstand any blow. Do you think the boyfriend's mother's request was excessive?
但是呢，却因为婚检报告而各奔东西，男子拂袖而去。 During the National Day holiday in Changchun, an incident sparked heated discussions among the public. A young couple went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to receive their marriage certificate, but due to a premarital health check, they ended up parting on bad terms. The man stormed off in anger, leaving the woman collapsed on the ground, crying uncontrollably. It is said that the couple had not been dating for long, but the man's family was eager to have grandchildren soon. Additionally, the couple was not young, so their families urged them to marry as soon as possible. After discussions between both families, the man agreed to pay a bride price of 220,000 yuan, and the woman proposed that the bride price be paid before the wedding ceremony. Although the man's family was not financially well off, they scraped together the bride price to push the marriage forward, and then urged the couple to quickly obtain the marriage certificate. Before issuing a marriage certificate, the Civil Affairs Bureau usually recommends a health check for the couple. The man, thinking that his family had already spent a significant amount on the marriage, and that the cost of the health check was relatively minor, agreed to it. He believed a health check would be beneficial for both of them, providing peace of mind regarding their health. Although the woman was initially reluctant, she eventually agreed under the man's insistence. However, after the health report came out, the woman seemed evasive upon receiving the report, always avoiding letting her boyfriend see it. Sensing something was wrong, the boyfriend grabbed the report, and after reading it, his expression changed dramatically. He threw the report in her face, angrily saying, "I knew there was something off about your reluctance for the health check. With your condition, you still dare to demand 220,000 yuan as a bride price from my family? We've spent so much on this marriage, and my mom even took out her retirement savings. But look at your health report. Do you really think you're worth that money? It's good we haven't received the marriage certificate yet. Return the 220,000 yuan. I'm not going through with this marriage. I can't afford to be humiliated like this." People nearby gathered and started discussing the incident. Some sympathized with the man's anger, while others felt sorry for the woman. The woman cried, saying her family had also invested a lot in the marriage and had already sent wedding invitations to all their relatives and friends. But the man gave her no chance to explain, turning away and leaving her sobbing on the ground. Many people commented online. Some believed that certain women demand high bride prices and lavish weddings, but are not open and honest, leading to inevitable disappointment. Some even mocked, saying, "Some people hide even their own health conditions, yet still want a grand marriage. It's like being an old second-hand car that doesn't even realize it's close to breaking down, yet still asking for a sky-high bride price, deceiving honest people." This incident has sparked widespread discussion on the necessity of premarital health checks. Many people believe that premarital health checks have become essential today, and if one party adamantly refuses, there may be something they're hiding. Marriage is built on trust, and only through mutual honesty can there be lasting happiness. Through this incident, many have realized that marriage founded on concealment and deception is doomed from the start, lacking a solid foundation.
可能会得罪很多女性朋友。
Today, I'd like to discuss a potentially controversial topic that might offend some of my female friends, but I hope everyone listens carefully to my analysis. Why has premarital health screening become so important nowadays? Do people realize the critical nature of these screenings? Especially for those born in the 90s, they prioritize health screenings before marriage, with the bride price only coming second. For many men, the bride price is not an entirely unacceptable matter, but health screening is an absolutely indispensable step. Furthermore, there is a very crucial indicator in the health screening report called GPA. This indicator reveals significant hidden information. For those men who are considering marriage, you must pay attention to and keep this information. It will greatly benefit your future married life. Each letter in the GPA indicator has an important meaning. G represents the number of pregnancies, P indicates the number of births, and A denotes the number of abortions. With these three pieces of data, men can gain a deeper understanding of their girlfriend, allowing them to enter marriage with more peace of mind. I believe that undergoing health screenings shows responsibility toward each other. If a woman can maintain her self-respect and take her health seriously, it is the best form of protection for herself. Meanwhile, if a man can respect and care about a woman, he will truly find his own true love. In conclusion, I think health screenings are completely normal, and it's best for both partners in a relationship to get checked. This shows responsibility toward oneself and others. People who always refuse health screenings are the ones who are truly abnormal.
Why are more and more women becoming less concerned about premarital health checks, or even rejecting them? In fact, there are complex reasons and deep social changes behind this trend. First, in the past, traditional beliefs heavily influenced women's views on chastity. At that time, many women were very cautious about maintaining their purity and approached relationships between men and women with care. When deciding to marry, they were more inclined to support premarital health checks, seeing it as a responsible attitude. However, as times have changed, the influence of traditional culture on contemporary women has gradually diminished, and for some, it has even lost its value. Now, many women hold the belief that my body, my choice, thinking that whether in a romantic relationship or marriage, they have full autonomy and freedom without needing to impose restrictions on themselves because of marriage. Therefore, when a partner suggests a health check, they may feel uncomfortable or even resentful, viewing it as an infringement of their rights or a sign of distrust. The change in attitude reflects a certain casualness toward relationships. Some women may have had multiple relationships before marriage, leading to a resistance to premarital health checks because they don't want the check to reveal their personal history. On the surface, they may refuse the check by saying it's a lack of trust, but the real reason might be that they don't want their partner or others to know too much about their past. This way, they can maintain their image without facing personal history potentially exposed through a health check. Moreover, the rejection of premarital health checks also reflects some women's strong pursuit of freedom in marriage. They don't want marriage to restrict their actions, and even in marriage, they still wish to keep their autonomy. This mentality can also be seen as a natural resistance to marriage, like a person who has lived freely for a long time, feeling uncomfortable with sudden rules and boundaries. For them, the health check symbolizes regulation or even a challenge to freedom. More notably, some people even view marriage as merely a means of obtaining material resources. They may seek financial support and emotional dependency from men through marriage, but are unwilling to accept the constraints marriage brings. For example, decisions about having children, maintaining loyalty after marriage, or even pursuing other emotional relationships outside of marriage are seen as personal choices that marriage shouldn't interfere with. Marriage, to them, is not a commitment of responsibility, but a tool to achieve personal goals. Therefore, they can accept the benefits of marriage, but reject the responsibilities and obligations within it. This shift in mindset has also led to a crisis of trust within modern marriages and a rise in divorce rates. In recent years, statistics on infidelity and children not being biologically related to their fathers have been thought-provoking. This situation has raised concerns among some men about marriage, fearing that their marital security cannot be guaranteed in such an environment. In this context, some men have chosen to approach marriage with greater caution, even considering that if women view health checks as a hassle, it might be better not to marry to avoid potential risks. It can be said that the changing views on relationships and personal values in modern society are profoundly affecting people's attitudes and choices regarding marriage. Friends, do you support premarital health checks? Feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue providing better content for you. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.